Well, it's Penn State football season. What the best record they've had in how many years now? Is 7-0 out of the gates here? This is exciting.
99 they were 9-0, and then it went south in a quick hurry. So I think this is a little different deal.
We're going to talk about Ohio State and Penn State looking back, and we're going to eventually talk about what's coming up with these guys. But as the headline said in the Penn State Extra this week, they passed the biggest test, I think, with the Ohio State game in a very much of a drag them out slugfest. The two defensive lines really controlled the action, I thought. What were your impressions of this game, Mike?
Well, a couple of things. For the first 8 games, Penn State was really able to control the game with their offense. There were some times when they didn't execute as well as they might, and that was the problem. But in this game, we saw athletes on the same level as them, and really, I thought that the defenses controlled the game, and now you got to wonder if Penn State is the absolute juggernaut that we thought it was offensively. I mean, you got to wonder about that a little bit. When we're now talking about the stakes are higher. We're talking about the national championship. I mean, that's what we're talking about. Anything else is going to be, to some extent, a disappointment. That's a ridiculously high standard, but That's the way it is. So anyway, I'm not sure. I'm questioning their offense a little bit, but I'm not questioning their defense at all. Their defense was phenomenal. I'm not questioning their overall athleticism because there was a lot of quickness and speed on that field, and they were more than up to it. And on the road, no turnovers, no penalties, and you find a way to win a tough game. So I think that's the big thing.
Joe has said to you before, and the other reporters that cover the team, I don't know what I have yet. This was weeks ago. I don't know what I have yet. I don't want to see what it's like in a tough, close game. He now has a tough, close game under their belts, and these guys played pretty well in those conditions.
And he still said today, when people ask me how good we are, I still say I don't know. But then like 2 sentences later in the same response, he said, we're pretty good. I think we're pretty good.
What's going on at quarterback? Have you had any more of an update? You called me at 11:57 as we're working on this page about his bell was rung. With
Little frantic at deadline time when we're putting out the Sunday news with these night games. Joe said today that Clark is not going to practice the next couple days. And but he said, and this is almost a direct quote, I don't think there's any question that he'll be ready for the Iowa game. So again, this is the best timed bye week maybe in the history of bye weeks. I mean, this is really, really fortunate for Penn State in a lot of ways that they get this week off.
Yeah, they finally get to take a breath. I mean, you've had one big game after another big game, and it's finally time to exhale and just go to get a rest.
Exactly right. And Joe talked a lot about that, about, maybe this week you can relax a little bit and be a college kid and don't get too far away from it. But it's good to have a breather.
We don't want anything in the police log this week, do we?
Well, I think that's sort of what Joe implied. Yeah.
What impressed you the most about this victory?
Well, I would say their defense, just in general, their defensive line, which we know that they've had player suspensions, kids get kicked off out of school, injuries, and all this stuff, and the defensive line is right there. And Aaron Mabin, this defensive end, who's only about a 235-pound kid, is just really something else. Cat quickness, and as I said in the story on Saturday night, he got held more than a newborn baby at a family reunion. I mean, guys were mugging him and tackling him. It was incredible, and he still, played very effectively. So Penn State is going to be able to handle it athletically, I think, against anybody that they face from here on out.
Well, it's going to be fun as they sort of finish the stretch run here. We got Iowa, and we have Indiana. And they ended with Michigan State. The last two are at home. Iowa's on the road. I think Iowa's still a tough game. I think Iowa would be a brutal trap game if they had to play it on Saturday. This bye week is excellent timing here.
It really is.